So we just want to welcome you to your sabbatical.
Yay.
And for us, we were forced to have a sabbatical after I got sick, which I was bedridden for almost a year. And it really transformed our lives. So we want you to embrace this opportunity and really start looking at what that means to you. And even though you might feel like you're forced to take on this sabbatical, you can choose to be miserable, or you can choose to really find the blessings in the situation. And that's what we found. What our sabbatical did to our lives is that at the time we had 5 different businesses. We were very stressed, we were overworked, we were burned out, and even though in the outside it seemed very negative, it was really one of the best experiences in our lives, even though I was bedridden and everything, because we grew in our relationship, we grew as people because we learned so much, we grew in our business because from it we were able to create something that didn't take our time. So we got freedom of time, freedom of money. We're able to touch people's life from over 200,000 people in 195 countries. So it was a blessing in disguise. So we're trying to say this opportunity can also be that blessing in disguise for you.
And so in order for us to make that choice, to see the experience that we had previously as a sabbatical, that we had to decide to do things differently with our time than would be like the normal default way of reacting to a situation like that when you're stuck at home. And like in my case, I was taking care of my ill husband, and our businesses, we really couldn't run them. And most of what we did with our businesses were very high touch. Like, you know, we were running conferences and speaking and coaching and managing, and we couldn't do that. Neither of us could do it anymore. So as you can imagine, financially, it was extremely stressful because our businesses ultimately crumbled down around us. And so we had to just start thinking of new ways to interpret our business, which, in situations like this, that there's a lot of people in that same boat, but it forces you to be creative. But it wasn't just about the practical stuff. It was about how are we going to spend our time? And we spent our time like devouring a ridiculous number of audiobooks and regular books and online courses. And actually the online courses that we took during that period are what taught us, what allowed us to transform our business into what it's become today. So we point this out so that you, understand that we know what this is like. We have been through this for long periods of time, and that not only can it be pleasant and somewhat enjoyable, but it can also be transformational. And we're not joking when we tell people, they think we're crazy, but we tell them that we found true happiness during the worst situation of our life, when we're basically have no more income, and our businesses are failing, and he was at a place where he wasn't even sure if he was going to make it. And of course that's terrifying for me. So we were in that position, but we found happiness. So how does that work? Well, it works because our only other choice was despair. We had to choose to seek to learn how to find a place of happiness within ourselves that did not depend on our external circumstances changing. And that, more than anything, is what we wish for you.
Yes, and also keep in mind that disruption is really an opportunity for change. Because what happens is that we are creatures of habit. So as creatures of habit, studies show over 50% of our daily lives doing unconscious behavior. So we don't even know that we're doing it. So we just kind of go about it, doing the same thing over and over and over again. So we can't break that pattern. So a lot of times what happens when we have a big disruption in our lives, and sometimes it happens because we lose someone, we lose a job, or something else happens. A lot of times because we're forced in that situation. And a lot of you right now are being forced into this situation where you can no longer have the same pattern of waking up saying, oh, it's Monday, I got to go to work, or I got to do this, or I have to do that. That pattern that you're not even thinking. You're driving to work and you don't even know how you got there because you blinked and you're already there because you're doing it unconsciously. Now all those patterns get taken away. So what happens when those patterns get taken away? We're able to create a new identity. We're able to create a new reality that can help us make large-scale changes in our lives, that can help us redefine who we are. And it forces us to become a new person. And we get to decide who that new person is going to be.